What's up, y'all? I'm Catherine of Evergreen Era Film and Photo. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through some tips on how to pick your Asheville Elopement photographer. Your photographer can really make or break your experience from how much they end up posing you, how much knowledge they have about the area, and how well you get along. And so all of these tips that I'm going to share with you are really going to help in your process of picking the right Asheville Elopement photographer for you. Let's dive in. Tip number one is find a photographer who is local to the Asheville area or who knows the Asheville area very, very well. Having someone who understands climate there, understands road closures, all the different land municipalities that you might be eloping on is going to be really key to make your elopement day process and the planning process really smooth. Shopping local is a really great way to make sure that you're just putting your money in a good place, supporting local economies, but also you're gonna have a really good experience with local knowledge. I was actually born and raised in the Blue Ridge Mountain area of Western North Carolina, so I have spent my entire life exploring all of the trails and waterfalls and really getting to know what this area is like. I know it better than any other place, and so I would be a great fit for couples wanting to elope in this area in the outdoors. Next step is choosing an elopement photographer who specializes in elopements. If you hire a photographer who also does family portraits and also does big weddings and also does elopements, they aren't gonna have as much experience in planning an elopement and preparing for elopement as somebody who only works with elopement specifically. Which makes sense, right? But they're also not going to have as much time or energy to invest in that planning process and supporting you with all of the details that elopements need. Having someone who specializes specifically in this niche is going to help you have a better experience in the long run. The photographers who still shoot larger weddings and other things are not going to be able to stay as up to date on all the specific details in relation to elopement, like permitting, location restrictions, elopement vendor recommendations, and things like that. They're also more likely to offer you less hours of coverage because that is more typically what they see as an elopement, is around like 1 to 2 hours of coverage. When I specialize in elopements and I offer from 4-hour coverage to up to 10 hours of coverage. And so it's just as much of an experience for you as it would be for a big traditional wedding. It's just a different kind of experience. So finding someone who specializes in elopements is key. I specialize in elopements only with 20 guests or less to keep it really small. I support couples who want that intimate elopement experience because I believe it's the best way to get married. I think it's awesome to be in the out of doors, having a bit of adventure, to be able to relax at times, and to actually spend time with the few people you've invited, if you invite anyone at all. I think your wedding day should be more about you than about the hubbub and the other things. That is why I love to specialize with just you special people in elopements. The next thing that you're going to want to think about is to choose a photographer that helps you every step of the way. I actually help my couples plan and walk through the entire process of what they need to do and when they need to do it as much as I can. I'm not an official elopement planner, but I'm an idea generator and a question answer from someone who has done this a lot. I can help walk you through this process to make it streamlined and easy. And that's the difference between somebody who will just show up and make you kind of plan your entire elopement day, but they'll just show up and capture it on photo. Instead, you're gonna have a little bit of a connection with a photographer who helps you plan. You're gonna have probably better insight, better options, because they understand how elopements work, they understand locations better. So you're gonna have an overall better experience if you hire somebody who understands that planning process and who helps you. Likely this will be more expensive because they're going to be doing a lot more work for you. If you can, I would definitely plan into your budget, hiring somebody who helps with planning. But if you have a smaller budget, then hiring someone who will just show up day of can work as well, but I definitely recommend somebody who helps you plan throughout the process. The next thing that I highly recommend is choosing a photographer who values what you value. You vote with your dollars is what they say, and spending money on something that is going to go to things that you value and support those things is a big thing to think about when you're spending a lot of money on an elopement. For example, I'm very eco-friendly, environmentally conscious. A lot of my work and my services is based around that. So if that's something you value, then finding a photographer who also values that is gonna just make your feelings about your experience better. You'll know that your money is going to the right place and the things that you value, in addition to just providing you a service. It's also going to ensure that you and your photographer are a good fit. And if you value the same things, you're probably going to enjoy each other's company throughout the day a bit more. You're going to kind of jive a bit better, and that makes a really big difference. Those two things are awesome to think about when you're picking your photographer. Tip number 5 for picking your photographer is to find one who cares about your experience as much as your photos. Unfortunately, there are a lot of photographers out there who still mostly care about finding good photo opportunities to fill their portfolio, and who have expectations of posing you and just putting you in these positions and experiences that are not about you and are more about the final photos. And what happens when they do that is you will look at those photos and remember the experience of being uncomfortable, not having a good time. Even if those are super cute, awesome, sweet photos, you will not feel like that is a way to remember your day and your memories. Finding a photographer like me who values your experience really first and believes that photo and video just comes from honest representation of y'all having a good time and staying connected is going to make all the difference on your elopement day. Wouldn't you much rather sit and enjoy your partner and have the photos that, even maybe they're mediocre or bad photos, I'm not saying they will be, but they remind you of this special, beautiful experience that you had sitting watching the sunrise with the person you're marrying, rather than these very posed, awkward, silly games that you played all day for some cool photos and not really having any good memories from that. Choose a photographer who values your experience just as much as beautiful photos. You'll also want to consider choosing a photographer who can also provide video. Now, I don't know many people who can do this. I'm one of the few, potentially only people who offers this service, and I actually do photograph and film elopement days at the same time as one solo shooter. And this is a really awesome thing for you to be able to relive the day both ways without having to hire multiple people and then have multiple people there with you on your day. That is a great option, and I would love to do that for you if you think I'm a good fit. Reach out if you think I am. Also, you might want to choose a photographer who is wilderness first aid certified. If you're going out into the backcountry, or if you're even going on just like a close to town trail, just being in the out of doors requires some awareness and some preparedness. And if you have a photographer who is wilderness first aid certified or any other kind of support certification for being in the out of doors, that is going to be really nice. I've definitely had to wrap a few ankles in my experience, and I'm very prepared because I am wilderness first aid certified to provide some support in these less accessible locations that you might be for your elopement. Finding someone who has done that extra work to make sure that they're in support for you is going to be really, really nice. And last but not least, if you're doing specifically an outdoor adventure style elopement, you are going to want to hire a photographer who actually lives an outdoor lifestyle. If you hire somebody who is from the city and hasn't done much hiking or adventuring in the out of doors, they aren't going to know much about how to be prepared for that scenario for your elopement. And that's okay. Not everybody has to be outdoorsy. There's no shame in that. But hiring somebody who has that experience and that knowledge for an outdoor elopement experience is going to help you rest easy knowing that they understand being out in the wilderness and the activities that you're choosing to do, that they're going to be comfortable in them and prepared. You really want to make sure that you find somebody who has experience and knowledge in the tasks you're going to do that day. And that's all. We did it. I really hope these tips help you pick your Asheville elopement photographer or your photographer anywhere else. These tips can be adjusted to any location, but I particularly am from Asheville and love that area. So leave a comment below if you had a particular aha moment, something you didn't realize, or have any questions. I'd love to hear from y'all. Otherwise, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. Oh, I'm getting good. I'm getting so good. You